Are we live? We are live. Is the sound all right?
Here we
You
go.
can hear it good? All right, perfect. Well, I'll go through the introduction first as far as our partnerships and sponsors. So, first and foremost, shout out our beautiful host of Slackwater Riverwoods in Provo. Beautiful area down here in Provo. If you haven't been, you got to come check it out, man. Like, it is super fun. The vibes are great. Music's on Sunday and Saturday. Like I said, the vibes are great down here. We do a live show every Monday night. So shout out Slackwater Riverwood. Shout out Dave. He's the general manager down here. Dave's our guy. Shout out Snugs USA. They got us with the backdrop for Ben Connected. Shout out my guys over there. Shout out JCNF and Co. They do all my jewelry. They do all my pieces as far as necklaces, bracelets. They can do any custom work, rings. You know, we are in Provo, so it's a good spot to get a ring. Shout out Dunk Cookies out in Saratoga Springs. Appreciate them. Odeon Sportswear. I mean, best suits. I always get compliments on Sunday. I might even start getting a calling now because I look so good. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Shout out Just Ingredients. I'm telling you guys, this is so good. Use Ben 10. It's the best in the game. Andrew also is with Just Ingredients. Shout out Lodge 33. Best hats in the game as well. Those are my guys. We got the Ben Connected hat on tonight. But guys, I first and foremost want to make a special shout out. Today, I'm wearing a specific shirt for my guest, Andrew Gentry.
Love it, man.
So yeah, this is his shirt, man. He designed it.
It's the money shirt, man. Hop over to American Built. Go get a
American
shirt.
Built, guys. American Built made this shirt. It's super sick. I mean, what I love about it is Andrew's logo fits perfectly for his number, 75.
Perfect, man.
So it works out.
AG75, man. Works
Hey,
out well.
I love it, man. So without further ado, appreciate all of our sponsors and love there. But guys, want to welcome on Andrew Gentry here live on the podcast. His journey to get to Provo has been amazing, and so can't wait to dive into that and talk about his life and what got him to Provo. But Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Always a great time being with you. Always a great time being on your show. Great place to be here, man. Like you said, it's the spot right here at Slackwater. So super grateful to be here. Super excited. What a perfect night, too, man. This is awesome.
Beautiful, like pre-fall. Is that what they call it now?
Something like that.
That's almost fall. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's fall. Like, I'll know when I get home if I have decorations up the house, you know?
There you go.
As far as, like, if it's fall or not. But, guys, so in the house, we got Andrew Gentry. So Andrew is, you know, from Colorado,
Yes, sir.
grew up playing football, originally committed to Virginia,
Yup,
to Bronco
UVA.
Mendenhall.
Yep.
Crazy, right? And then Bronco does a detour while you're on your mission,
Yep.
ends up going to Michigan,
Yep.
winning a national championship. Okay, I've only won a national championship on NCAA, so you won it in real life, which
About
is
the same,
sick.
man. No,
No,
I'm kidding.
not
I'm
even
just
close to
kidding.
the same. But wins a natty and then comes to BYU. Obviously, there's a lot of story between there, so we're gonna dive in. Let's talk about your high school day. Obviously, your brothers played. You know, your brother played at BYU.
Yep.
Let's kind of talk about kind of how you grew up, what it's been like. We'll start there.
Yeah, for sure. So like you mentioned, I got a lot of family history and connections to BYU. So I mean, if we take it way back, my grandpa played football at BYU in the 1950s. So played as an offensive lineman here at BYU. So not only does the BYU football roots go back, but BYU offensive line roots really go back. Then my uncle played football here in the 1990s. My dad played basketball here in the 1980s before he transferred up to Utah State. And then my brother played football here, started up in 2018. And so growing up, I was a huge BYU fan. Always loved BYU. That was the team I was cheering for. Back when they were in the Mountain West days, they'd come and play Air Force in Colorado State. And like you mentioned, being from Colorado, I was always going to those games. And so loved BYU growing up. Then we go into high school and start getting recruited. And throughout the recruiting process, it was a really great time, right? I enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? A little bit, you know, you hear from a bunch of different schools, but so I had a lot of different options. I was super blessed, had a lot of different options. But like you mentioned, I really liked Virginia, liked Bronco, liked what they were doing over there at that time. Felt that they were building a good program. You know, they went to the Orange Bowl my senior year of high school. And so, you know, I was excited to kind of go over there and see what they were doing. So commit to Virginia, and then I go on my mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yep.
And so I turned in my papers February of 2020.
Yep.
And then we all know, March of 2020, the whole world got flipped upside down on its head.
The world stopped.
The world stopped.
Yes.
The world stopped. So I got my call to Argentina. And then all of a sudden in March, I realized I'm probably not going to Argentina anytime soon.
Right.
So I get my reassignment for my mission when I'm 5 weeks into the MTC, right? So I was supposed to go to the MTC for 6 weeks. I was supposed to go to Mexico City, but I was online.
Okay, so you're
because
online
everything
MTC.
shut down. So
Okay.
I'm online MTC at home, and I'm going through the MTC, and I know I'm not going to Argentina, but I don't have a reassignment. So I'm like, where am I going to go? I have no idea where I'm going to be going on my mission in 6 weeks. Or I had some friends that they basically said, okay, like just wait, we don't even have a spot for you. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to Argentina, but I might be going anywhere in the U.S., or I'm staying at home for a little longer.
Right.
Really had no idea. Then a week before I'm supposed to leave, my original departure date to Argentina, all of a sudden, I get my reassignment, and it's to no other place than Orem, Utah.
Orem, Utah, y'all.
So-
You heard it first. Orem, Utah. My man was in, like, locally
Just right here,
15
man.
minutes away. Like,
Dude, I mean, it's
10
5 minutes, right? You go right
5.
up here, right up the canyon. You go to the mouth of the canyon. That's right where our mission ended, right? So we're in Provo now, but man, so it was right here, right?
So crazy.
It's wild. I literally spent the last day of my mission. There's a bookstore over here, Moon's Rare Books.
Yeah.
That was the last place I went on my mission, right? They
Really?
took us down here, yeah. And so our
Dang,
mission
man.
president did. So it's kind of crazy being back here, right, where I finished. But anyways, yeah, so come here to Orem, Utah. Honestly, wasn't sure how long it was going to be, if it was going to be a temporary reassignment.
Right.
I ended up serving all 2 years here. Super grateful for it. Loved it.
And what a good time. I mean, obviously there's a lot of, kind of like, obviously, like, I lived in Utah. I kind of grew up, like, my dad was in the military, so I moved quite a bit. I've lived
Yeah.
kind of in different states. But when it comes to, like, Utah, like, I've seen, like, kind of like the openings of, like, Idaho. Was that, like, when you got reassigned to Utah, was it very, like, okay, I'm going to Orem?
A little
Or,
bit.
like, what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if you were to go back to my reaction, I laughed when I got my call. Because people would ask me where I wanted to serve my mission, and I always said, I really don't care, but I don't want to go to Utah or Idaho.
Yeah,
That was kind of those are the two
spots.
Yeah, those are the two,
spots.
right? Nothing against either state, right? Because I love both states.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, you go out on your mission. So then I was like, oh, okay, Argentina. But then, hey, got my
Orem,
call
Utah.
to Orem, Utah, right? And my grandparents who are here tonight, they live in that mission, right? So I went in there. I had 2 uncles that lived in the mission.
So cool.
3 uncles actually that lived in the mission on both sides of the family. My brother was living 5 minutes away in Provo. So pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
To get called to a mission
Especially
like
with that much family and, in that vicinity of, like, you're seeing your family on your mission,
Yeah,
essentially, right?
pretty much. I mean,
So-
I was crazy. I didn't see any family somehow
Really?
while I was here. Yeah, never bumped into anybody.
Wow.
So pretty crazy that for those full 2 years that never happened.
Crazy.
But, man, it was awesome. I mean, I really grew to love Utah at that point, and I think, I know looking back that God had a plan in all of it, and especially
Absolutely.
now being back in Utah, right? People are asking me, how's the transition been? I'm like, there's no transition. I
Yeah.
lived here for 2
Yeah,
years.
you've already been here.
I've been here, right?
Yeah.
And obviously had a lot of family connections
Absolutely.
to Utah. So, but yeah, really, really grateful that I ended up there. But yeah, I mean, so I go on my mission. I'm 18 months into my mission, loving it. Plan is to go to Virginia.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned earlier, right, Bronco Mendenhall all of a sudden steps down as the Virginia coach.
Yep.
And so that happened, I remember, it happened on like a Thursday, if I remember right. And an office couple in our mission texted me, and they said, I mean, I'm so sorry, I don't know if you heard the news. I was like, what news are you talking about? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I realized that Bronco Mendenhall, they tell me that Bronco Mendenhall stepped down. So I didn't really know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I talked to my family that following Monday, and they told me, hey, we talked to a couple coaches. BYU reached out right away.
Yep.
And then Michigan, right? We talked to Coach Harbaugh. And both schools are still super interested. They want to come and see you. I was like, well, I don't want anybody to come and see me on my mission. I was a missionary. I was all locked in and focused. So then I talked to my mission president, and I tell him kind of what's going on just to inform him.
Yeah.
And he tells me, he says, Elder Gentry, why don't you want coaches to come see you? He said, you prepared to go out on a mission. You bought white shirts. You bought ties when it was time to go out. He's like, you got your whole life to live. You got to prepare to go home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
Especially at 18 months.
at 18 months, right? Yeah, so I'm going home in 6 months, and this is a really important decision on where I'm going to school,
Very big.
And so from there, my parents contacted Coach Harbaugh, and he told them, he said, I want to come and see him. And so we arranged it with permission from my mission president, the area presidency. We arranged it so Coach Harbaugh came out. We met at University Mall in Orem, Utah, went to Tucano's, and from there decided to be a Michigan Wolverine.
Committed there, right? Like,
Committed there at
dinner.
Tucano's. Yeah, it was
So
a quick
fire.
hour dinner. At the end of the dinner, shook his hand, said, I'm coming to Michigan, signed the papers that next week, and then 6 months later, ended up at Michigan's campus, just like that.
So crazy. And I
Crazy,
think
huh?
for a lot of people, like, whether you're LDS or not, when you're on your mission, you're supposed to dedicate your time and your life to the Lord. And, whether you're in Utah or I served in Houston, Texas, and what's so special about a mission is, like, when you're there, like, you get lost in the work. Like,
Yeah.
even if you, like, don't want to, like, you naturally do it because you're so busy.
No doubt.
Like, even the dudes that don't want to be there, it's like, bro, like you're so busy, you don't really have the chance to like not get lost in it because
Right.
you're working so much and you're really giving back to the community. And, obviously you're teaching lessons about Jesus Christ, you're serving. And so for that to happen in the middle of that,
Wild.
had to be wild.
It was crazy.
Because, I mean, in your head, you kind of put it to bed where you're like, okay, I'm going to Virginia.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Okay, I know where I'm going. Let me just go take care of this now.
Exactly.
And then it kind of gets flip-flopped, and you're like, crap. Like,
What am I doing?
So you get to Michigan, and obviously it's a little different than, Colorado and Utah for sure.
Yeah.
What was that like when you get on the campus at Michigan for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, right? So I come home from my mission middle of May, and then I need to be on Michigan's campus reporting for workouts 10 days later, right? And so for those who don't know, you only get 30 minutes a day to work out, and it's not like I have gym equipment, right? So I'm doing push-ups, sit-ups, trying to stay in as good a shape as I can, but you haven't played football for 2.5 years at that point, and you're showing up at one of the best programs in the country doing their strength and conditioning. So I show up there, and it's a pretty rude awakening, right? So I get there, and it was a fun summer is the best way to put it, I could say. I had a really, really great strength and conditioning staff that really worked hard with me and worked well with me of making sure I didn't rush back into it. And I remember that summer I put on about 30 pounds. I just got back into really good shape and really bought in. So I get there, and it's different though, right? Like you mentioned, it's a different culture. It's, I'm used to growing around the mountains, right? Being in Colorado and being in Utah, you have these gorgeous mountains all around, and I get out there and I'm like, there's trees everywhere. I drive down the road and I don't know which direction I'm heading because there's just trees everywhere.
You're like, there's, I think I passed that tree earlier, but probably not. It's the same one,
It's crazy, but I loved it. I really did. It was a great time. I love Michigan. It's beautiful. The weather was great. I mean, the weather in the summer is fantastic.
Yeah, it's like winter in Michigan's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
you get out there in the summers though, man. I don't know if there's anything better than summers in Michigan.
How close is Michigan to like Lake Michigan? Like, is that?
So Lake Michigan's on the other side of the state,
Okay.
but I mean you're close to Detroit, so all the lakes around there, and
Did you
so
hit that up? Or?
I did. Yeah, I went there a few times. Went to Lake Michigan, hit some of the Great Lakes around. So it was fun. It was a good time. But
That's awesome.
but yeah, culturally, I mean, so you talk about being a member of the church. In the undergraduate program there was, maybe 10 members of the church in the whole undergraduate program of, thousands of students, right? Tens of thousands of students.
When it's so different, right? Like you grow up like Michigan is a different background, different culture, different kind of realm of world that we live in. But also what's crazy is, man, like you get out there and what was that? I mean, because obviously like when you're growing up, you're playing high level football, you're starting at high school, and then you get to Michigan where it's like you're the new kid on campus.
Yeah.
What was that like? At a Michigan where, I mean, dude, you played with some elite dudes at Michigan.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. So I remember my welcome to college football moment, and everybody has one.
Yeah.
But to kind of put it in perspective, so I remember it was fall camp, and I was playing well, right, for just having gotten off my mission. Felt like I was doing good things, and so all of a sudden though, I get moved up to move with the ones and twos, right? And so I start kind of rolling with the twos and going against the one defense a little bit. And we had a guy by the name of Mozzie Smith, who now is a starting defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, was a first-round draft pick. And there was one play where I had a pretty good block on him. And Coach Harbaugh had a really good way of motivating people.
Yes.
He just knew what to say and when to say it. And so he all of a sudden yells out to Mozzie. He says, "Mozzie, you're letting a true freshman block you." And Mozzie just flipped a switch. You could tell he was mad. And I was like, oh, man, something's coming, man.
Coach Harbaugh, why'd you have to do that?
I was like,
bro?
yeah, coach, like, just, you don't need to talk anymore. And so the next play, I have to, it's a man-on-man block against Mozzie. And so I take my steps, and I swear, the dude just one hand straight through my chest, and I'm just flat on my back right away. And for me, I was like, all right, like, this is what I signed up for, though. And, it was tough in the moment, but at the same time, it was a really good learning experience for me, right? That's where I finally started to learn, okay, like, this is what I have to do, this is what I need to get, this is where I need to get to in order to start competing with these guys that are going to be first-round draft picks, right? Instead of my time there, I played against Mozzie Smith, first-round draft pick, Mason Graham, first-round draft pick, Kenneth Grant, first-round draft pick, Mike Morris, playing for the Seattle Seahawks now.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback was elite.
Quarterback, yeah, J.J. McCarthy, first-round draft pick, right? So just around a lot of talent. Yeah, I mean, Colston Loveland, my tight end I'm playing next to, first round. Blake Corum, third round, scoring touchdown. Oh, yeah, so I played with the best of the best.
Right.
So it was great for me, right? Because I learned, all right, this is what it needs. This is what it takes to be the best, right? This is what it takes to be, at this next level. So it was a rude awakening that first year, but I feel like I really worked hard. And there was never a time, maybe that play, but I never really felt like I didn't belong, right? I felt like I could compete and worked really hard to compete at that level. And was really grateful for my time there. Learned a lot.
So you talk about Coach Harbaugh like motivating in a unique way or a good way.
Yeah.
What was that like playing for a guy like him with his status as far as like, I mean, that's an elite dude.
Yeah.
Well respected in the football community. How was playing for him?
Yeah, I love Coach Harbaugh. I don't have bad things to say about Coach Harbaugh. And, people know him. If you're in the football world, like you mentioned, you know who Coach Harbaugh is. But the cool thing about Coach Harbaugh, man, is the guy that people see in the media, this eccentric, kind of crazy, a little quirky guy, is the same guy that we got every day at practice. And that's what I loved about him is he was so consistent, right? He didn't come in one day and was upset and angry, and then the next day was happy, and the guy that you see in the media, he was always just kind of crazy Coach Harbaugh. But awesome. I mean, he would do wild things. Like I remember once he sent us an essay about honeybees and why he loved the honeybees and how we could bring together as a team. Wrote an essay about the difference between field corn and house plants and how field corn is tough and gritty and house plants have everything handed to them. And the difference between, working hard and having everything handed to you. And that's just the kind of guy that he was, right? He really came in every day and was just excited and taught me a lot. And I loved it. And it was really, really cool.
And obviously, I think with what's super cool about Michigan is like, I think it puts you on a platform to be able to be a voice for also something that's very big for you, and that is the religious side of being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and being able to be in the bishopric in that area. What was that like offside of football? Because obviously everyone knew who you were on the field.
Yeah.
What about your off the field, as far as platform?
Yeah, it was really cool. That's one thing that I'm really, really grateful for, looking back at my experience at Michigan, was that I had the chance to, like you said, be on the field and have that experience. But then off the field as well, you just got a different experience than you get anywhere else, right? So being in a bishopric, it was busy, right? I mean, I remember getting that calling to be in the bishopric, and I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this, right? But it was really cool to have that experience, because then I learned, all right, I'm going to dedicate my time to football, but then I also have to dedicate equal time to the Lord, right? And have to dedicate equal time to my calling and helping people out. And so for me, it was great, right? And was blessed that had some cool church news articles that they wrote about me and just what I was doing both on the field and off the field. And was really grateful that I was able to share my faith in that way, and had so many teammates ask me about what I was doing. Had people who had never even heard about the church who were then saying, it's really cool that you're effectively an assistant pastor, right? And that's just not something that you got anywhere else. And I was really, really grateful for it.
I mean, I think it's such a unique experience, and I think what's so cool is like you were able to use your platform. And I think a lot of times in the world we live in, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, and I think we all have a God-given talent and a God-given ability to be ourselves. And I think like as we naturally be ourselves and be like our authentic self, I think we can really change a lot of lives, right? And I think we can bless a lot of people's life, and by being just who we need to be, and that's just good human beings, love one another, and it's super cool. And so obviously Michigan was a wealth, full of experience and time, and I think a lot of people misunderstand, dude, because there's a lot of guys that are like, oh, like he was at a big school, then he transferred to BYU, almost as like it's like a knock. People don't realize like you started at Michigan, you played a lot of big games, you were at a lot of big venues, you win a national championship. There's kid, I mean, you dream about that when you're a little kid. You dream about winning a national championship. You talk about it. What was that season like? Because the year before didn't go your way.
Yeah.
So what was kind of that? What was that like? To get to the national championship and win.
It was awesome. I mean, so you go back, right? You mentioned that freshman year, right? So 2022, and we lose that heartbreaker to TCU. I mean, again, we really should have won, make it to the college football playoff semifinal, and it was just crushing, right? Like that was a crushing game. And I just remember starting that next season. We walk in January for our winter training cycle, and our strength coach has written on the board 13-1, right? Our record that last year. He's like, it's a great season, guys. Like that was really exciting. He's like, what are you going to do to erase that one in the loss column? And that was the whole focus that year, was we didn't care. I mean, you do, right? Because that's the natural progression. But the Big Ten championship, that was just going to happen, right? We knew, right? We had done it 2 years prior. We'd done it back-to-back years. So the Big Ten championship, we're like, hey, that's cool. College football playoff making it, we're like, hey, that's cool. We've done that back-to-back years. But it was all, we're going to win the national championship now. And just the way that guys worked, I mean, there was just such a focus on being the best team in the country, being the best players in the country, being the best in the weight room in the country, right? That's where it all started. And so because we started that way in January, by the time August rolled around, we just knew where we were at.
Yeah.
And it was fun because every game we walked into, we just knew we were going to win,
Yeah,
right?
you knew where you were at.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we just had prepared so well and done everything the right way that we could just walk into a game with the utmost confidence of we're going to dominate this opponent. Didn't matter who it was. You had that swagger, right? And it's an important factor. And so you fast forward through the season and just really doing great things all the way, and then you get to some hard games, right? You play Alabama in the Rose Bowl, right? Nick Saban's last game.
Big game, bro.
Big game. You know, you go to overtime. But again, we'd had that preparation since January, you know? And so 11 months earlier that you were we had won that battle, right? We had won that battle for the whole last year. And then you go to the national championship. And when we got to that national championship, I just remember going to that game, and it was really just walking in of, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's no way we lose this game. And we did, right? And so it's just then all of a sudden that success, it pays off in one moment when you see the confetti falling. And it's the coolest feeling in the world, right? Because you don't work for results. That's what Coach Woods here at BYU, our coaches at Michigan, they all preach, it's all about the process, not the prize at the end. And so it really is. It's all about the process. But at the same time, when you see that confetti falling and you get that prize and that validation, there's not a better feeling in the world than hoisting the national championship trophy, sliding a ring on your finger. Pretty surreal.
Absolutely. And I mean, how powerful, right? And I think you hit it right, head on the nail. Like, I mean, a lot of people get stuck on the process side, or like, not the process, like the result, right? Or like the instant gratification. We live in a world of instant gratification, right? Like, It's very like, I could DoorDash something. Appreciate it. Coach A-Rod right here in the house, man.
Coach, what up?
This is our guy. Shout out Coach A-Rod, man, a legend. But really, man, I think the culture that we live in is very much like instant now, right? And it takes time. Like, you guys had to go through that 13-1 season. Like, obviously you don't want that, and you don't want to have to go through the struggle, but when you do go through that struggle, I think that's what allows those other times to be so sweet, you know?
Yeah.
So then, you're at BYU, or you then do your thing there, you get injured, and you kind of test the waters of the portal.
Yeah.
And it's not like you were not wanted. You were very wanted in the portal. You end up back here at home, I would say, Provo. What was that journey like? Round 2.
Yeah, so crazy full circle moment, right, when you start talking about the portal. So like you mentioned, so last year, at Michigan, it was kind of unfortunate. Start the season with a little bit of an injury, and it gets me till about week 6 until I'm healthy. So I get healthy, starting the games, playing really well. Feel like I'm playing really good football in a good spot. And then against Michigan State, on my 23rd birthday, right, it was crazy, on my birthday, feel a pop, tear my Liz Frank in my right foot. And it was really unfortunate, right? You just feel like all that hard work that you put to get back on the field, all the time and effort that you put into just playing at a university like Michigan, and all of a sudden you're just laying down on the field knowing that your season's done, right? Because I knew right away that the way it was, the way it felt, it wasn't a sprain. Yeah, I knew it was bad. Yeah, so knew right away, but really grateful for the power of prayer. I'm a firm believer in prayer, and so at that moment, right, said a lot of prayers at that time, right, of just knowing what to do, kind of what was the reason behind it, because I believe everything happens for a reason. And so praying a lot, right, because when you're laying on a couch after surgery, you get a lot of time to pray and think. And so doing a lot of prayers, doing a lot of thinking, and really just feel very strongly that I need to test the waters in the portal. And so in December, early December last year, I entered my name into the transfer portal, not really knowing, to be honest with you, right, because, I mean, I'm this guy who just, was obviously playing well, but
quote-unquote damaged goods.
But I'm injured. Yeah, exactly, right? People don't know how I'm going to heal, right? It's kind of a scary injury, and so they don't know if I'm going to heal correctly, if I'm going to play that next season. There's a lot of question marks. And really grateful, like you mentioned, that there's a lot of schools that were really, really interested. But the first school, which I think is so cool, is BYU, right? That's the first school that reaches out, the first coaching staff. Because I look back, right, and I was this kid that, like I mentioned, had a really strong BYU legacy. With family and friends and growing up. I just love BYU. Big legacy kid. And I tell them no coming out of high school and go to Virginia, their old coach. Right? And then on my mission, right? Okay, I'm literally serving in the backyard of Orem, Utah. And I'm right there, and I choose Michigan, right? And go there for 3 years. So I look at this staff, and especially Coach Sataki, it would have been so easy for them to say no. Like, hey, man, you turned us down twice. And I wouldn't have blamed them. I think most people would have said no, probably. But just a testament to Coach Sataki and the staff that he's put together is they were the first ones and said, hey, it's time. Like, it's time for you to come home. It wasn't time those other 2 times, and now it is. And for me, I was just like, wow, that's so cool. And so kind of went through the transfer portal process and listened to some other schools and Honestly, got offered more money at other places to go and play, but just the culture that they've had, that Coach Sataki's established here, and just the person that he is, the staff that he's put together, and really the way that BYU is now competing. I wanted to be a part of it. I really did. And so I'm so grateful that they were willing to, one, be willing to take me back after saying no twice. But then two, just to put me in such an incredible situation that I've been in now. I'll forever be grateful for it and truly feel that God has led me, from the whole time, right? Whether you go back to committing to Virginia, then going on my mission, then to Michigan and getting injured, to lead me right back here, right, to BYU. Was where I was meant to be at this time of life, and I'm so grateful for it, and it's been fun to be here.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, I love hearing when you talk about it, and I think what's so cool is, Kalani's unbelievable, man. Like, I've been able to get to know Kalani at a high level. We do business together, a business partner now, and I've been able to go to practice a lot and see him, and how he operates and how his staff operates is so unique. It's honestly unique. Like, how much he loves, right? He talks a lot about, not every guy might not go to the NFL, but every single guy is going to be a man in society. Like, I need to prepare them for that, right? And naturally, you got dudes in the NFL. You got Puka, you got Fred Warner. You got dudes, and other guys too, but, they do have an establishment there. But I think what's so awesome about it is the fact that BYU, early on, right? It was they're independent. It was really hard to get big recruits, right?
Yeah.
A lot of big recruits. We just had Jackson Dart in the house last week or 2 weeks ago, and even Jay Dart was like, bro, this is unreal. The vibes here are great. The Bell Edwards Stadium at night is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we were in a bigger conference and we had the momentum we had a couple years ago, it could have been different.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have changed things for different recruits, but I definitely think where BYU has taken a big step is a great way to create a really good program in the future, right?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of good dudes have laid the groundwork, and now
No
we're
doubt.
just maintaining it. So now you're here, man. Now you're at BYU. You had your first game. We played Portland State, kind of like a little high school JV team. But hey, we put 70 on them. I think a lot of people misunderstand that. We played a team like that, but it wasn't like we won 21-0. We won 70-0, right? And then the next week, we play Stanford. We get a win. This week we had a bye, and then now it's East Carolina. What do you like about? What do you think about the early bye? Is that being kind of a weird?
Yeah, it's different, right? Having the early bye. It's kind of a nice break, though, honestly, right? You go through fall camp, and, I've always had, the earliest I've ever had a bye is week 6. And so it's been a different transition. But at the end of the day, it feels good, right? You go through fall camp, right? Fall camp's a grind, and then right into the season. So, you've been grinding for the last 6-7 weeks, right? And so I really am grateful for it and feels good. My body feels good kind of going in. Now we got this 6-week stretch of where we have to, fight every week, play every week, and get to that point where we get to the next bye, right? But we're really excited for this next 6-game stretch, right? You take it 1 week at a time, and I'm super excited to get on the road, right? I think it's fun to play in road games. I love the Bell Edwards Stadium. The vibes there are unbelievable, unreal environment. But I always like going on the road, right? Because you get that different edge. You walk into their place, and they're all trying to defend their house, and you walk in there and you take over the house, man. Take over the trap. So
Walk into your trap.
take over the trap, man. Yeah, you know it.
But I think what's cool though is man, how cool is it that BYU has such a legacy brand, right? There's people that will show up to East Carolina game because they're fans of BYU, right? There's gonna be a lot of freaking people at that game, cheering on BYU. But again, it's at their place. There's kind of this swagger, and there's a lot of hate towards BYU and the church, and there's a lot of chants that get chanted at us. But how cool is it to really go out on a bigger platform, bigger than football, take care of both ways, right? Obviously, you've been in some big rivalries at Michigan.
Yep.
A lot of big games. How does that kind of compare when you're looking into this year? Obviously, I know you got to take week by week. But a Utah on the horizon, obviously you grew up a BYU fan, so maybe you already kind of know. But what does that rivalry mean to you, as far as that stuff?
100%. Like you mentioned, right, the focus is week by week, right? So our focus right now is beating East Carolina, right? That's our goal, and they're a great football. They really are. They're a great football program, so it'll be a fun game this weekend. But at the same time, I think, being at Michigan and seeing the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, I understand how rivalry games work, right?
Unbelievable. That's
It's the mecca of rivalries, right?
It's the ultimate. Right?
Yeah, it's the college football. That's the number one rivalry, right? But the crazy thing is, you look at Ryan Day last year, and Ryan Day is a phenomenal coach, right? He's done phenomenal things at Ohio State, and I think he's lost something like less than 5 regular season games or something like that. But the fact that 4 of them have been to Michigan, that's people are calling for him to be fired last year, right? Because he's lost 4 in a row, and so all of a sudden, right? It's like that's how it works, right? Is that with the rivalry, that's you have to focus on it, right? You have to realize just how big that game is, right? Because the fans, for everything. And I think the thing that makes it fun this year is Utah's a phenomenal football team.
Yeah.
They really are, and I love that.
Yeah.
That's how I'd want it to be every single time, right? Is that, the goal is that both teams are undefeated when you play. I mean, I look at the couple of games that I played in at Michigan, Ohio State, right? 2 of those games, we were both undefeated.
Right.
And that's like your ticket to the college football playoff is winning that game. Yeah. So I pray that both teams are undefeated, right? That we go into that game, that both teams are undefeated, and then it's just a battle, and that's what I love, and that's what I'm excited for. So excited for that.
And when we talk about rivalries, how do you level yourself, right? When you obviously it's a big game, it's a big venue. How do you maintain yourself and don't get out of whack, right? Because emotions are high, a lot of things are happening. How do you stay locked in those situations?
Yeah, I think honestly for me what it goes back to is preparation and treating every single game like it's the Utah game, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the way that I always look at it is that it's a nameless, faceless opponent is what I always say, right? So this week we're playing ECU, but in my mind, I think that the preparation should be that you are playing Utah, or honestly that you're preparing to play in the national championship. Because at the end of the day, you're not playing in the national championship if you don't win these games, right? It doesn't matter when we play in Utah, right? If we have 4 losses going into that game. So that's why you really have to take each game and treat it like it's the most important game in the world, because it is, right? And so as you prepare like each game is the most important game in the world, then you get in that situation for Utah and nothing changes, right? Yeah, there's more hype around it. The fans are more excited. They're more into it. But at the same time, I played 7 games leading up to that game where I prepared like each game is that Utah game. So then you get to that Utah game and it doesn't change. You're mentally there, yeah, because I've done it before.
And I love it, man. And obviously, I've been able to be blessed and very fortunate to get a front row seat to watch Andrew. Been able to work on his team a little bit and work with Andrew. And Andrew's an incredible human being. Beyond just his football ability, natural leader, natural dude that brings team together, brings people together. And I think you've seen that in that offensive line. All right, there's a lot of guys that are elite in that room. And I think, you do a great job, and I've seen it at games and practice, things like that. And I'm just super excited to see how it, propels this season. But we got some questions this week. We opened it up for the group, and a lot of people sent in some questions, and so we're going to read out these questions.
Let's do it.
But we got a couple, hey, just so everyone knows, Slackwater, Provo, Riverwoods, that's the move. We got Joe Brown in the house. His family's here. We got Maverick McManus, my little brother. He's in the house. We got Andrew here. This is a place, So, all right, well, we're going to start off with our background and journey. Again, these are going to be rapid fire, but also some you're going to, respond to a little bit more. So we're going to play it as it is. So you originally committed to Virginia and then Michigan. You ended up coming to BYU. We kind of already talked about it, but how do you feel about kind of your path to get back to BYU?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I always say full circle, right? That's the phrase I always use because it really is, right? Growing up a BYU fan and then, straying a little bit, if you want to call it that, going a different path. The prodigal son, right? and then coming back, it's awesome, right? It's been cool, and I'm really grateful for my journey, the way that it's gone. I wouldn't change anything, but super grateful to be here now. Super grateful for the lessons I learned, both being committed to Virginia, being at Michigan, and now being at BYU.
Yeah, and I think when you look back in your life, I think every part of your journey is a part of the journey, right? And
absolutely.
So you served at Mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints before starting your college career. How did that experience shape you both as a person and a football player?
Yeah, fantastic question. I think my mission, I know. So my mission has changed me more than any other experience in my life, right? And I say that even winning a national championship and playing at a high level of football at different places. And I say that because as a missionary, you just have to be so focused every single day, right? Every day is a new set of challenges, right? I was Spanish speaking on my mission as well, so you're doing a different language, you're helping people, and you just realize that it's so much bigger than just yourself, right? In high school, I'll be honest, selfish, right? I was a selfish kid. It's all about you. But being on a mission, you just realize that it's so much about other people. And you also learn how to work really hard, though. And that even when things aren't going your way, and because there's times on a mission where it's not going your way, but you work really, really hard, and things work out, right, at the end of the day. And so that's what I've learned, too, is that you put your trust in the Lord, you put your trust in God, and things work out. And I've seen that happen so much in my life, right? Just in coming here to BYU, I was led here, right, because I really feel that I trusted in God, and I learned those principles on my mission that helped shape me. And I use it every day as a football player too, right? God wants to help me on the football field too, I believe, right? So I put him first and try to, live my life in a way that he wants me to live it. And I feel that I'm a better football player when I do that as well.
I love it. Coming from Colorado, what has it been like adjusting to life in Provo, both on and off the field? Obviously, you touched a little bit because you've lived here a little bit, but is it different? Is it kind of similar?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, right, there's some similarities. I love the mountains. I like the elevation. I like being here. I like the change in seasons. But, I had the great opportunity, again, of serve my mission in Orem, right? So I feel like I kind of got warmed up for it a little bit. But also, too, it is different culturally, too, right? Especially you talk about being at a school like BYU and the church. And I remember being at Michigan and, you'd never pray to start class. And so my first day in class here, I'm taking out all my notes. And then the teacher's like, all right, we need to start with a prayer. And I was like, oh, shoot, yeah, we do that here, right? And so it was cool, right? And I love it, right? But adjusting to things like that has been different. But at the end of the day, too, I love it. It's been really cool.
I love it. Now we're going to go to football and development side. Offensive line doesn't usually get the spotlight, but it is the backbone of the offense. What is your favorite part about playing on the line?
I love just the grind of playing on the offensive line. Every day is a new set of challenges. It's the dirty work, like you mentioned. You're not going to be put in the spotlight, but that's what I love, right? To grind, to put my other dudes in the spotlight, right? I love that Bear can be in the spotlight, LJ, Sione, Chase, right? Those guys, I want them to be in the spotlight, but I want to do the dirty work so they can shine, because then when they do well, we all do well as a team. So I love that.
No, I agree, and hit it spot on, and how has your body and game changed since you first stepped onto campus? Since your college moment that you've experienced, getting blown up through the chest. Sorry, I thought my mic was walking away. Rendon was actually moving it for me. So shout out Rendon. But how has your body and changed since the beginning to now?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with some great strength and conditioning staff between Michigan and then also here at BYU, and so they've done a great job of really putting on a lot of muscle and losing fat. Right, that's the biggest thing. I've done that, gotten faster, gotten stronger. In college football is no joke, right? They help you and get you different level, right? They get you in a spot where you need to be in order to compete. And so I feel that I'm the best where I've been in a long time, and really in my life. And I'm grateful for the strength and conditioning staff and also the physical therapy staff here at BYU. I give a shout out every time to Terrence Motley, my PT here, because he got me back and healthy, and just really grateful for where I'm at right now.
I love it, man. Okay, this was a question also was last week. We asked Keanu who his hardest matchup is in a one-on-one in offense, and he humbly said nobody. He said nobody can guard me one-on-one. They have 7 Devils.
Dang.
But if it was a one-on-one, he said it would be Jada or you. You guys would be like the hardest guys. So who's been the toughest defensive player you've faced so far, either in practice or in a game?
Honestly, I'd have to say in practice is Keanu too, right? Yeah. Keanu's a beast. And I love that he's at BYU as well, because iron sharpen iron, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching him at the Utah game last year, and I was like, dude, I hope he goes to the NFL or leaves. And so happened we got him to come to BYU. So
absolutely.
It was great. But
yeah, no, he's a beast. And so every day I love going against him in practice because it gets me better. But then we also have some really great defensive ends too. Logan Lutui's a great defensive end. Bodie, Vil, they're all good players, right? We have a great defensive line, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Keanu.
Okay, Keanu's been the toughest. Okay. Personal side, what's your pregame ritual and go-to hype music before kickoff?
So I'm a big, I kind of developed this in Michigan, but I'm a big prehab, right? Getting the body prepped. Yeah. So I'm a big wake up in the morning. I have a pretty strict routine on what I eat. I usually, if we're playing a night game, eat a big breakfast because I know I'm not going to eat much the rest of the day just because of nerves and excitement to play the game. Then we do kind of the meetings. And then when we have our off time, I go back to my room. I study the play sheet. I write down every play, just review everything, make sure I know exactly where I'm going on every single play. And then honestly, when I get to the stadium, I get taped right away. But here's kind of the crazy thing. I actually don't listen to music.
Really?
I'm not a big, I want to get excited right before I'm playing the game, and so I try to kind of take it easy when I'm on the bus ride over, when I'm in the locker room. Then I go out onto the field. I have a very specific warm-up routine I hit before every single game out on the field, go back inside, and then get ready for game time. So I'm big on just the mental preparation side. I kind of work hard on preparing my mental side, and for me, I found that music kind of gets me overly excited too early, so I don't listen to music. Kind of crazy.
I love it, man. Just staying grounded and being in the moment.
Absolutely.
Super cool. Okay, being a big guy, obviously you're an offensive line. fans always want to know what's like the go-to meal. Like, what's kind of like what's your spot? You know?
Well, Slackwater, of course.
Hey, great answer.
gotta
Provo
say
versus
Slackwater.
Woods, the best in the game.
But no, I love Slackwater. Great spot. But if I'm not going to Slackwater, oh man, here in Utah, there's a couple great places that I really, really like. I love Chubby's in Orem. That's a great spot. I've hit that up a lot, being a missionary. If I'm going for Mexican food, I love Holy Taco in Orem. That's one of my favorites. So I'll eat anything and everything. Being an offensive lineman, obviously that's the case. But Utah, man, they got some great food. But Slackwater, always.
Hey, Utah does have a lot of hidden gems, man, in the sense of the food. And we just keep bringing more food, better spots here.
Absolutely.
Like Slackwater, like North Italian. Like, there's been a lot of great spots coming to Utah. So video is off on YouTube? Okay. Audio is fine? Okay, do we want to take 2 to try to figure it out real quick? Yeah, let's take 2 to figure out the video real quick, and then we'll finish up these questions. We're still live. We're still hot, so I won't say anything. We'll figure it out next week. It is a little overcast, so maybe some weather difficulties. I don't know. But we will finish off these questions live on Instagram as well. When you're not studying film and lifting weights, what do you enjoy doing to relax?
I love to play golf. So
Golfer.
in the summer times, yeah, I'll be golfing a lot. We got
I
some
love
good
it.
golfers in the O-line room. So went golfing a lot this summer. Love doing that. I also love spending time with my family too. I'm blessed that here in Utah I get to live with my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 kids, so
Way
my
cool.
niece and nephew. So I love spending time with them, but yeah, if I'm going to do some activity, I'm going to be playing golf for
Well,
sure.
we're going to plug you in with T-Box Golf Simulator. Murdoch, the Murdochs are actually bringing them to Utah County,
Oh,
so we'll make
sweet.
sure we tap you in with that.
Let's go.
We'll get you right. Okay, how would you describe the chemistry in the offensive line this season?
Honestly, it's fantastic. It really is good. I mean, you take a bunch of guys. The cool thing to look at with the offensive line is, I mean, we haven't played together. We played a lot of football, right?
Yeah.
All of us combined, but we really haven't played together much at all. And just a credit to Coach Woods. I mean, he's done a fantastic job of just putting us together, putting us in situations where we can learn and grow from one another.
Yeah.
And I think the chemistry's been great, right? And like I mentioned earlier, right, we played a lot of golf together this summer, so that helped us out too, just in terms of growing together and closeness. So yeah, it was awesome.
You gotta really like somebody to go golfing that long.
That is true.
Like to sit in a cart for 4 hours, dude. You gotta
like
really
somebody.
somebody.
Yeah, no doubt.
Who's the funniest teammate in the locker room?
Oh
There's
man,
some goons in there.
there are some goons in there. I mean, Parker Kingston, that dude's funny.
Parker's good.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
Trey's nonstop talking.
Trey's nonstop talking for sure. My locker buddy, it's Kafusi Pakofi, I think's how you say his last name. Yeah. He's hilarious, man. Like, he's a transfer from Weber State, right? So I don't think people really get a chance to know him super well.
Yeah.
But because we're right next to each other in the lockers, man, I freaking love that dude, man. He's hilarious, man. So I might have to give him the nod on that, bro. I love talking to him just after practice, before practice. He's the man.
I love it, man. Just a few more questions to finish up. What would you say, as one of the big men up front, how do you personally take pride in protecting the quarterback and setting the tone for kind of the momentum of the game?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me, right, is Bear. Obviously, he's phenomenal, right? I mean, I've said it before in media, right? Just in terms of a true freshman, I haven't seen many better. Just how the confidence that they have, the way they can manage the offense. So Bear's phenomenal that way. But at the same time, he's a true freshman, right? And so, as an offensive line, I think when we found out that he was going to be the starting quarterback, we really also took it upon ourselves and said we're going to give him as much time as he possibly needs. Not that he needs a whole lot, because he makes great decisions. Yeah, he's doing great things. But for us, right, no matter who's back there at quarterback, I could care less who's back there, right? We're going to take immense pride in making sure that they stay up. We keep them protected. We keep LJ protected. We keep Sione protected. Like, those guys, right, when they have the ball, it's just as much on us that we have the ball, right, that we're keeping them protected. So I take a lot of pride in making sure that they're staying upright.
Our line is, getting a little more healthy as guys come back and things like that, and bodies feel better, and it's awesome, man. I'm super excited to continue that. As far as some personal goals, obviously, you have really done a great job in football, and you have, what's kind of your aspirations? Obviously, I would assume you're going to say, go to the NFL and make a career, but, beyond that as well, like, kind of be like, all right, after the NFL, you have a great career. What else what else could we kind of plan for with Andrew Gentry?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, like you mentioned, right, the NFL's always been the goal. Ever since I was in 4th grade and started playing football, that's been the goal. So God willing, right, and work hard, hopefully that works out, right? I would love for that to work out. But at the end of the day, right, I know that's a tough career, right? There's always injuries. I learned that firsthand last year. And so, I want to get in the business world, get my degree in business management here at BYU, studying business at the University of Michigan as well. And so would love to get in the private equity sector, would love to do something in that regard, or the real estate sector as well. So got options, right? Try to make connections with anyone I meet, and that's the great thing too about being at BYU is there's so many phenomenal people that help you out and are willing to help you out with so many things.
Yeah, man, I think the connections are second to none here at BYU and just in general, right? And I think that's kind of, a lot of people ask me about being connected and kind of like how I started it or why I started it. And, in my life, like, I don't build relationships just off of clout or trying to chase clout. For me, I want to connect to people naturally and really, help others and create relationships that are awesome and be able to, create, lasting things that are deeper than just, your kind of normal X and O. But again, guys, I appreciate my guy, Andrew Gentry, to tap in here at Slackwater Riverwoods. We'll drop his Instagram below. Make sure to follow, like, comment, blow his socials up. But again, appreciate the love that Andrew got. Appreciate Slackwater hosting us. And until next week.
Appreciate you, man. Always a great time being with you.
Always good hanging out with my boy. All right. Peace.